tabs on if I behave myself or not. But this is our Region 7 Zoom webinar. We're hosting these around the state because as things rapidly change, as they are with you guys, it's important to inform our regional ADs and also the ADs around the state as to what challenges you're encountering and also what things that you're doing well that you're having success with. And then, of course, we just had council end a little while ago, and you saw the decision to allow live broadcast on Friday, which is going to be new to all of us. So a lot of things are going on. Before I turn it over to Ray and Paula, I'm going to introduce our state sponsors. So we have Field Turf and Nevco. So we have Eric, Bruce, and Chuck from Field Turf. So do y'all want to kick it off? I'll let you guys get started first.
Yeah,
Right.
Eric, that was a text I sent you. Let me just go real quick.
I got you, Chuck. I got you. So,
Guys, real quick, I know we're on time frame. Y'all got to get down to business, but, you know, I've been fortunate here to be involved with probably Bob and Rusty, maybe 5 of these things, and I thank you guys and David for including us. You know, most recently, we have a couple of VP meetings at various places just about every year. This year we had to do last week 2 days on the phone, which was quite interesting. 8 hours over the 2 days. But with that said, my report to everybody in North America was, and I had to listen to New Jersey first, New York and the Northeast second, Northern California third, Northwest fourth, and then they arrived in my lap. And you know, being a part of this thing, and Paula, hats off to you, the last one I was on. And you know, I spoke out a couple of times about how positive the environment was. Well, during this meeting, you know, what I had to say to the group, I said, you guys, it's going to take somebody to start moving this thing. I know it's crazy. There's a lot of unknowns, but what I've heard out of the state of Texas is why I'm glad that I live in this state. And it's people like you guys, the athletics, the UIL, that are, you know, that are kind of moving the cheese here. I know that you guys have had a recent setback. But with that said, you know, you've got a lot of partners around you, not only, you know, within your districts around the state, but then also the partners like us, Joanna, and everybody else, because you guys have been fantastic to us. And I guess my message here is to let's all stay positive. I mean, this stuff is driving me crazy. I don't want to get into all of what I think about because that really doesn't matter. But Texas, and I can just tell you right now, has moved and has headed forward more than anybody that I've seen. And I, you know, like I said, we might have a little bump in the road, you know, down south a little bit, but I know you guys will get through it because, like I said, attending your last meeting, everything was just so positive and upbeat. So keep your heads up and keep doing this. And like I said, this is therapy for me because, I mean, I don't think anybody knows what's doing. And I know being in business and everything else, Joanna, you guys are in the same thing. I mean, but the encouragement and the positiveness I hear from you guys is tremendous. So keep it up, and we're here for you guys, anything you need to do. So Eric, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, hey, my boss is on the call too, so I'm going to try and do my best here to do a good job. But really, all I wanted to do is say hello, see everybody's face, see what's going on around. And Coach Bush he and I have been riding around the last couple of days, and I'm down here this week. I'm going to let Coach say hi. Hopefully, he'll give you all a good little talk here and move forward. We want to be quick, so take care, everybody.
I just miss getting out and seeing everybody. It's always great to visit with the ADs. And of course, I think in this time we've had a spike here the past few days, and everybody's concerned. But you know, as ADs and coaches, we learn to be positive, and hopefully this too soon shall pass. And we were out looking at some fields over at PSJ. I know the baseball and softball was cut short this year, but hopefully you get out and get to play on those very soon and look at some of the stuff that Field Turf has done. Around here in South Texas, it's really good stuff. And everybody stay safe, and hopefully we'll be back to normal soon.
Thanks, Coach.
Very
That's
good.
it for us.
Thank you, Field Turf, Chuck and Eric and Bruce. And as most of y'all know, they are our THSADA board sponsor, and we thank them for their partnership with us. So thanks for being on with us today. We're going to move over to Joanna Huckabee from Nevco. And Joanna, I don't see Abby yet, but you go ahead and get started.
Fantastic. Well, hi, everyone. First of all, again, just to echo what everyone has said here, thank you so much for including your meeting. We're going to try to be quick, but share some helpful information with you. I am a scoring and display consultant for more of the Northeast Texas region in Texas, but help out all across the state and wherever it's needed. And right now we know that we're all having to pitch in and work together, and that's exactly what we're doing and hope to do for you all. Just a quick background on myself. I was actually a former educator for almost 10 years. So I was the director of broadcast and communication for a public school district in East Texas, where my main responsibility was supervising and coordinating content creation all across the district, which included our video display and scoring solutions. If you've never been a part of the Nevco team, you definitely will notice a difference. Not only are they founded over 85 years ago, a family-owned business, but we are proudly U.S. owned and operated. Every piece of equipment that leaves our factory was created right there within the United States and shipped out to you guys. We boast the industry's best lead times, not only in production, but on-time shipping as well, with a 99.9% on-time shipping rate, which is pretty unheard of, even during times like right now. So we have met some challenges head on, but we are still doing our best to make sure that your 2020 projects are ready to go when you guys are. We're also a member of many different purchasing co-ops to help make your purchasing process much more simplified and easy to make that happen. We're able to help you out with just about any scoring solution that you need, whether it's video displays, custom or traditional, scoreboards and scoring accessories, message centers, marquees, you name it, we can do it for you. So we hope that you look to Nevco for your next project. A few notable projects in the state, we could make a very long list for you, but these are some of the ones that we feel like if you've been there, you probably remembered it. Of course, New Caney ISD, Matador Stadium in Seguin, Dickinson ISD, Clear Creek, Bulldog Stadium in Carthage, Texas, and Galena Park. A quick sneak peek into 2020, we've got some exciting projects taking place in the Lone Star State right now as we speak. A couple of these are already in construction phases, and one jumping off very soon. Of course, the one in the center, Del Valley ISD, we're super excited about this project, a 25-foot by 27-foot, 16mm full-color video display. They're also showcasing two 10mm full-color ribbon displays, which are pretty awesome. We've got Humble ISD, who has a very custom look. They're building this gigantic video display into the facade of their current field house. So that's going to be an exciting project. It is completely virtual. So whereas Del Valley features a traditional scoreboard with intelligent captions, Humble decided to go fully virtual, as well as Channel View, who has not quite begun construction yet, but will be very soon, and we're very excited to partner with them on this 2020 project as well. When you work with Nevco, the first thing we want to do, and we would like to invite all of you to do this very soon, is schedule a facilities assessment. Basically, this is where several members of our Nevco team is going to come out, or if you'd like to do it virtually, we're able to do that as well. But we'd love to meet with you and just discuss what you currently have. We'll look at structures. We'll make suggestions on savings, maybe a structural modification, whatever the case may be. We're going to do what we can to make sure that we use what you have and we give you the best bang for your buck. We are also going to talk about what your goals are for your new project. So if that includes video displays and control room equipment, we'll discuss infrastructure from A to Z. So we will come out and make that facility assessment worth your time and worth your while. We'll then go back and put together some options for you. And just to note that any quote that is given right now will be valid through the end of 2021. So we understand that you've got projects on your mind and things that you're wanting to hopefully do in the near future, but they may be on hold right now. And so if that is the case, please know that Nevco is here to help, and any pricing given right now will be held through the end of 2021. Again, the industry's fastest lead times, not only in production, but on-time shipping as well. And we offer a lot of creative payment opportunities for you, access to multiple types of financing, flexible payment terms, starting projects sometimes with zero money down if that's something that's helpful and that we can arrange for you, as well as our sports marketing division to offer any advertising and promotion assistance that you may need. We've got a great team of Texas experts here to help you. Our regional manager, Shelly Childerson, Eric Light, our Vice President of Sports Video, and of course our sales consultants, Troy Burns, myself, Matt Ike, and Daniel Ware. So again, to quickly wrap things up, we appreciate your support of Nevco. We appreciate your positive attitudes throughout this challenging time. And hopefully Nevco can be one of the constants when everything is still changing around us and we're still trying to get things moving in the right direction. We're here to do what we need to do to help you. Thank you guys for hosting us.
Very good. Thank you, Joanna. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Are you able to unshare yourself?
Yes, let me try.
While she's disconnecting, many of you have joined us as an attendee. If you would, so we have a record, go ahead and sign in the chat room, your name and where you're from, and that'll give us a record of who was able to be with us today. So that ends our state sponsor presentations. I'm going to turn it over right now to Ray and Paula to conduct their meeting. Take off, guys.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon and this discussion. I know, first of all, I want to thank Paula and Dicky for helping to coordinate this meeting, as well as you, Bob, and Rusty. I know it takes a lot of team effort to get everything done and done well. We were planning on originally hosting this meeting next week. There's a lot of stuff going on this week, a lot of meetings and whatnot in preparation to, of course, continue to work with our athletes as they come back, to some strength and conditioning, and of course, plans to reopen in the fall. But things kind of moved up a little bit quicker because obviously, if you all know or have been reading in the news, that in the Valley we've had a big spike in positive tests. So what we felt that was important for us to meet sooner than later. So we're here today. So I thank all of you for joining us. I thank all the panelists for also accepting this invitation to join us to discuss some of the concerns, some of the challenges you guys are facing. And again, we all want to do what's best for our athletes, for our students coming back in the fall. And obviously for those of you all that are continuing to open up your gyms to your students, and same to you too. Here in the Valley, I think most of the schools or bigger school districts that opened up summer strength and conditioning back on June the 8th have already closed due to the spike in the COVID-19 cases. Some schools continue to operate. I know Mission and I think Donna, and there might be one or two more. Harlingen, I believe, is still going strong. McAllen, Edinburgh, PSJ, I think Brownsville have stopped, summer strength and conditioning. So we want to hear from all the panelists to see what they're doing, some of the challenges that they've faced here recently in the last week or so, and share some ideas of what we can do to improve, and again, to stay safe. And again, our main goal is to be ready to open up in August, and really that should be our main goal. So again, with that, I don't know if Paula has any comments or anything to add to that, but I'll pass it on to her.
I think the first thing that I want to do, Coach, is I do want to thank everyone for joining in. I know this was kind of a late notice, but I know that I spoke to a few of you, and all of us really wanted to kind of share ideas. I think in the Valley, we've always done a good job of pretty much leaned and helped each other. So it's a very challenging situation, of course, and I think this is a great time to join together and brainstorm some of those ideas. So I want to thank everyone.
I agree. So with that being said, I want to start off with Harlingen AD, Mr. Robert Davies. Again, just to ask Coach, what have you all done as far as your summer strength and conditioning and skills instruction precautions and procedures that you have implemented that have enhanced the safety of your student athletes?
Well, first of all, thank you to the association and to our sponsors for putting this on. It's always a pleasure to get together and learn from each other. As far as us, aside from what the UIL required, I just made a quick list of some things that we thought were helpful. Prior to the start of our strength conditioning, all of our coaches had Zoom meetings with their athletes, and they went through, we had them create a map with Google Earth, and they went through the drop off, the pickup, gave them an app or the ability to put the survey on their phone, talk through all the protocols that we had in place, explain to them, the temperature check. One of the things that we did that I thought was very helpful was we didn't let anyone get out of the car until we took their temperature. And that actually saved us a couple of times. We had an instance at one of our summer school sessions where a young person had 102 temperature. We took the temperature in the car, and immediately we said, you know, you're not going to get out of the car. You need to go seek a doctor. So that was really helpful. Then all of our coaches are required to wear masks out whenever they're around the kids. Our kids, a lot of them have started recently wearing masks. I think we may be headed where we have them with really a buff. And so whenever they're in transition, where they might be a little bit closer to each other, our coaches are requiring them to pull them up. We're always 10 feet minimum, probably 15 feet closer. The other thing that we did is we haven't been in the weight room. With our large groups, we've done everything outside. Our football program's been outside last week and all this week, and with the changes coming the 22nd, we're going to evaluate that. We're actually meeting later on in the week to discuss how we want to tackle that. We are one of the only school districts in the valley that is still going, and our superintendent is confident in our system that we have in place. And you know, we're really trying to test our systems and prepare ourselves for the start of school. So that's a lot of the reason on why we're kind of holding to continuing to have the program on the field. One of the things that our coaches did is they created a grid system, drew lines and put cones out on the field, and really 15 feet between each athlete, and they do all of their work really there. Our coach leads that. One of our coaches has a microphone and leads through all of it. It's all body weight and quick feed, and we get a lot done in a short amount of time in the space that we have. The other thing that we did is we assigned spots in those grids, if that makes any sense. So when an athlete comes, they go to the same spot every single day. And so whoever is in front of them, to the left, to the right, and at diagonally, we have a record of who those kids were. And so if we really needed to do any contact tracing, we should be able to identify, okay, these are the kids that were within 15 feet for at least 15 minutes of the day while they were working out. Everyone else was 30 feet or more away from this individual. We haven't had a positive test yet, but we believe it's imminent. It's coming. And, you know, we feel like we have a good process in place, and we're unfortunately going to have to put it to the test. Another thing that we did was we required all of our kids to bring a gallon jug of water, and they put that jug of water in their grid area in their box. And so they're responsible for that. The biggest challenges for us, you know, outside from the obvious, was really we were concerned about the drop off, and that went pretty good, I thought. The skills portion gets a little bit more difficult because, you know, you're limited on what you can really get accomplished. And then the pickup, one of the things that our coaches did that I thought was really good was, because we're on the field and we're in the grid, we have coaches in the parking lot, and the parent will come and they will call to the coaches on the field and say, you know, Luis Elorio, your mom is here, and we would announce over the PA, and then that student would leave. So anyone that needed a ride, we kept them on the field. If they had their own vehicle, we released them first. So those are some things that, you know, we did that I thought were a little bit unique outside of what the UIL required. And so far we've had really good attendance. We have a 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade program going as well that basically mirrors what's happening at our 2 high schools.
All right, thank you, Coach, for sharing a lot of great information, obviously. And I know for us in Rio Grande City, we have not started. We were planning on starting today, as a matter of fact, Wednesday. Superintendent called me on Sunday, and then on Wednesday we met briefly, and she pretty much said, you know what, due to of course, the increase in numbers, we decided to wait. So we have not set a date to when we're going to start up again, or to start for the first time, you know. But I know that a lot of schools are going through the same concerns. You know, you guys are doing a great job, and what you're doing is working for you guys here. We also, of course, got a great set of plans to follow the UIL recommendations and CDC guidelines, again, to practice all social distancing and whatnot. And again, but we have not put it to a test. We haven't been able to yet. but we look forward to the day that we're able to do so. And again, thank you for sharing, Coach. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next on, we got the Coach Ramiro Leal from Donna ISD. And I know, Coach Leal, your question is, how have you implemented any apps or any type of technology for self-checks, attendance, or virtual training, for that matter?
Oh, yeah. We're in a really unique situation. This year, I moved up, and we had 2 openings for both high schools. So we have 2 brand new head coaches that were hired during the pandemic started right after spring break. So our 2 head coaches not even seen their players. So we're in a big dilemma because with all this going around and see how we're going to do it. And speaking to a lot of you, especially talking to Coach Garcia at PSJ, we came up with more or less the same thing, a template they were using. We only limited to our top 50 varsity fall athletes. So it's 50 boys and 50 girls per se. So those are the only ones we targeted. We targeted nobody else. So we were going to have 2 sessions of 50, and that's it. Nobody else. If anybody missed, you couldn't let anybody else in there. The trainers did a really good job of getting a really, really specific plan. With that plan, we ended up scanning every day. If I could share something, maybe shine some light how we use technology on this.
Sure.
Let me see if I can go to this. What basically comes up, and see if you can see this. So we came up with a plan, of course, like everybody else. I hope that you can see this. Y'all seen this?
No.
Not yet, Coach.
Let me see. Can you see now?
It's coming
Yes,
on.
there you go.
There you go.
It's on.
Okay, so this basically says there was no weight room, there's no gyms in phase 1, and you're only limited to 2 hours. 1 hour was going to be the conditioning part, and 1 hour is going to be the sport specific. We're not going to go over the amount. We came up with a concept was less was going to be better because we wanted to stay open the whole time. We weren't going to be out here and trying to do something that, 2 new coaches, they don't even know their players, try to get familiar is basically what they wanted. So they would target the maximum of 50 athletes. That's all we're going to get, and 6 coaches basically. And that's what we did. We targeted. At the end of the day, we had no more than 10 in a group. And with those 10 in a group, they had to have their social spacing every time they were there. And it was really, really restricted. It was a very tight-knit organization, I could say. After we met with this, then if you look at this, we had a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint where all coaches had to go through it, and then it was given to the kids. So they knew exactly what was going to happen when they got here. So nobody could go through this unless they had checked this. Everything's on here, the do's and the don'ts. It was completely outlined for every coach to know exactly what's going on, because we didn't want to have anything really go wrong. Exactly when you're going to come in, the screening, everybody has to go through a pre-screening on a daily basis. So every day they got to be screened. But I'm not talking about just a temperature. They have to answer a questionnaire before they go in every single day. So with this, there's also where they enter, temperatures, how they're going to be grouped. It goes where it's just like Coach Davies from Harlingen. You're only assigned a certain place you can put your stuff. You can't put it anywhere else. Here, you see these grids, that's the only places these groups can be at. You cannot basically cross any of these areas. Those groups got to stay in that area, and this is where you keep your stuff. So it was very specified because we didn't want to have a chance to be shut down. And again, with new coaches, they want to continue to keep on doing this because they're barely getting to meet their kids. So the trainers came up with all this. There's one for Donna North also. The same grids are lined. Couldn't cross that. Everything that you can think of is on there. Everything's on here, how to wait. So it was pretty complete. Everything that you see would be on here. So after basically the coaches were trained, we went back and came up with, each coach then sent this out with a QR. I think it's a QR code and a link. All this, every single kid has to sign in every single day and be screened. So every screening is going to go on every single day to make sure. So when we get to the screening, this is what it looks like. These are all the questions that are going to be asked. And it's time consuming, but he can do it on the phone. So every day he puts a campus, the name, all this is going to be on there. And it's going to say which group you're going to be under, what sport you're going to be under, if any of these things you have. So you just keep on going. So in the last 24 hours, have you experienced anything of these? So you got to answer all these questions. So once they answer it, our trainers now have a stockpile of all the information. So on 6-9, these are all the temperatures. These are all the kids alphabetized, what group. And if you keep on looking, any question that they answer has to be on here. And I can go and find out if they answer yes to anything. If they do, they get flagged. They will let read inside, and we have documentation. Anything you see here, like this thing right here, is this person, it said must have his inhaler. If we don't have his inhaler, he can be brought in. So when we go back, the reason for this is if something happens and someone does test positive, we can go back and find out which group they're in, what was their temperature, and how they answered on that. So our district, basically, we're covering ourselves with the district. Do we ask questions? Yes, it's on a daily basis. So every single thing is documented. If anything were to happen, it's because it's going to go back to tracing. We have all the information that's going to be on here. So if a kid actually did lie on this, well, okay, but say, but as the district, we asked and he didn't answer correctly and so forth. So this is what we've done. We've shared all this information, and this is what's really helped us keep it pretty tight lit. I thank Coach Garcia. We were in communication, and I think PSJ was doing something really similar to this. I think it's worked out. This is what's helped us keep on staying open. Today, though, I had a discussion with the superintendent. I think we're going to suspend today. It was the last day for a particular reason. I told him, look, there's two ways we can look at this. You're going to be proactive or reactive. Either we shut down now, which is going to make it a lot easier to open up in 2 weeks because you're going to feel comfortable, or you're going to wait till you're going to test positive, and then you're not going to want to open up because you're going to be scared with all this thing going on. So he said, okay. So we suspended today. Hopefully we can come back in 2 weeks. And he said, yes, because this is working. The plan's working. He's willing to come back. I think sometimes the community gets scared. A lot of stuff's going out with the big old spikes. They're not going to want to bring their kids. So this has helped out. It's working for us. I know everybody has a great plan, but I think right now for us, we just wanted to limit it to the 50 athletes that we had for boys and girls in fall sports. But this is what's working for us. I'm sure everybody else has their plans. And also Coach Garcia might want to elaborate something they were doing over there.
Yeah, I tell you what, Coach, you guys are doing a great job. I think every school district is keeping accountability. One thing I saw in the chat room that we do use, we tied into rank 1 for record keeping. Just like he's got all the documentation there, rank 1 came out with an additional app for, I think, for $100 per school. And everything else we use in rank 1 has all the kids' information. So if a parent or a school district would ask us, where do you keep logging all your information? Well, we all go back to rank 1. So right now, that's where we are. And, you know, we didn't have a kid come down with COVID-19. It's just the numbers around us puts everybody at caution and taking a step back. And like he said, we're going to revisit it in 2 weeks and try to do it because we really want to be going in August. Today's not the day we're going to play football if we're going to play. We're going to play football more in August. So the closer we get to August, getting ready to do it, I think that's a better picture for all of us.
All right, very good. Thank you, Coach Leal, Coach Garcia, for sharing the information. My coaches here in Rio are also using Sports U. It's an app also that does pretty much the same thing you're talking about. Kids download that to their phone. They self-check before they come into the facility, or we're supposed to come into the facility, but we're going to start today. But pretty much same thing. And then, of course, it uploads everything to a spreadsheet, and it gives you all the information, how they answer the questions, and, of course, temperature checks and all that good stuff. So a lot of great technology out there. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know you guys were doing that as well, but you know, great information to share. And of course, if you guys have any questions, feel free to call our office or call us directly, and we'll be able to share some of that information with you. Next, we move on to Coach Orly Garcia. Coach, I want to ask you, what plans do you guys have to transition your sub-varsity athletes and middle school athletes into strength and conditioning if you do end up opening again? Yeah,
and I'll tell you what their plan was going into it. I have to give credit to my athletic coordinators and my athletic trainers. And Jeff Dar, our coordinator trainer, they put a plan together that was going to be safe for our community and for our kids. Just like everybody else did, we in-serviced our coaches. We did a whole day in-service, and they met with trainers. And basically, I gave the trainers at our district the power to do as they needed to. If they needed to shut us down, they're the medical professionals in our area. So we gave those guys that we had to sell them that we're going to protect our kids. So just like Coach Leal said, I mean, I didn't want to open up with 150 football players, 60 volleyball players, 60 basketball players, because that's going to be harder to maintain. So we decided to break it up into 3 phases. In phase one, we're going to limit it to the top 50 football players and top 20 volleyball players and maybe top 20 basketball players in the girls' side, boys' side. And that's all you were going to bring in. And we were going to go for a couple of weeks and looking at June 22nd as the next day, maybe to increase to bring the next 25 kids in, because we figured if our older kids had an idea of how to set the tone and the rules, basically of the landmarks, of the procedures we put in place for all our kids, the younger kids coming in, we had a view that, well, they're going to fall in place. But if we brought them all in at the same time, we figured it'll be chaos, and then for sure we'd get shut down right away. And like I said earlier, we didn't have a case. A sister of a brother, a sister has a case that doesn't live with a brother, but the family decided to test everybody. So we as a district said, you know, it's getting scarier, and this thing gets close to home, and then you start worrying about it, and you start making decisions that you want to get ready for football, but in the big picture, what are we really getting ready for? When I listened to one of the AD's meeting the other day, these kids, they get in the car, 8 kids get in the car and go home. They're all together, and they're just coming right back to us. They're just coming right back to us, and we don't know what they're doing at night. And we're just mixing and matching around us. And it's just like we said, it's a matter of time. If you haven't had a case, you're going to get a case, and it just hopefully we can slow it down and do our part as athletic directors and administrators and educators. And I had no plan to bring the middle school in, and I had no plan to bring the freshmen in. My idea with the freshmen was, I went back to the old days. They came in the first week of August, and we used to start with them, and that was fine back then. So as a freshman, we're going to come in, we're going to get them first week of August, and then we're going to start just like in the old days. I was more worried about the varsity football players, the top 20 kids, and getting them ready, because those are the ones that we really keep accountability on when it comes down to Friday night. That's basically it, guys.
Coach Garcia, so y'all didn't get a chance to start at all whatsoever, and
yeah, we went 3 days, Ray. Maybe we started we went for a week, probably 5 days, and we just shut down after a couple of cases in the area where family members were ill, so we put a stop to it. But we did start.
So what are the plans moving forward? Do y'all have a set date, or y'all just kind of wait and see type of thing?
Me, my soup, just like the comment was made, we're gonna revisit it in 2 weeks, and what's gonna make us go, guys? Hidalgo County's numbers have got to start coming down. They have not gone down. They just keep on rising and rising. And I know there's more testing and more things going on, but it sure does scare a lot of people around us.
Sure does.
That's true.
Thank you, Coach Garcia, for sharing great information there. I know we're pressed for time, trying to keep this meeting within an hour. So next we'll have Coach Dan Gomez from San Benito. Coach, I wanted to ask you, Coach, I know you guys put out a statement here this week about one of your athletes or somebody close to a program testing positive. What did you guys do? What procedure did y'all follow as far as that was concerned? And I know you guys didn't shut down the program. I think you all suspended, just that pod or that group of athletes, and were able to continue with the rest of the athletes moving forward. Unmute your mic, Coach. I think you're on mute.
All right, I'm still learning.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, we stuck with the UIL guidelines when it came to a positive case. So our kids were already grouped into those cohorts that they suggested. So we strictly stayed with that. So the individual that came in on the very first day of strength and conditioning didn't come back on the Tuesday. And he informed us on Thursday through email, because he didn't come back after that Monday, that he had tested because somebody in his household found out on Tuesday that they were positive. So he had tested everybody in the household. So what we did was we also informed that cohort, even though he hadn't had results yet from his test, we went ahead and we called all the parents of that cohort. We told the kids to stay home. We gave them the information that they needed so that they were aware. So we took that extra precautionary measure. On Monday, then he came and emailed us with the test result that he was positive. So we went and we called back the kids from the cohort, along with the coach that was with that group, that the young man was tested, or the individual tested positive. And a lot of the parents were very understanding. Of course, there were 1 or 2 that were paranoid and panicked a little bit, but they were appreciative of the fact that we pulled them out even earlier than we had to. So we then put together a statement, and put that statement on our site. The trainers contacted the parents, and our office contacted central office and administration to let them know the situation. Once it went out on Monday, the statement went out on Monday. On Tuesday, we still had a fair amount of kids that still showed up, and we handed out in each of our sessions the written statement, physically handed it out to each parent that was dropping off an individual, so that if they had any questions or concerns, we could answer them. Again, we reiterated to them that this was voluntary, that they did not have to drop their child off, and you know, a lot of them still did so. They were very you know, appreciative of the fact that we also did that Tuesday morning and spoke with them one-on-one about the situation. And up until today, you know, we were probably 1% less in attendance throughout the programs. So I think the transparency and the communication with parents is key to all of this, because they're the ones whose child is that we're working with. So the more that they understand and know what we're doing, the better they feel.
Right.
We also, the training course goes to the TA guidelines. We contacted the health department to make sure that we recorded the positive case within our county, and you know, it's gone well. It went well. Of course, I think we all know if you have one, you're probably going to have another. So it's inevitable, like Coach Davey said earlier, that you know, we're in these times where we're going to have to adjust and, you know, come up with the best plan to make sure that we keep our kids as healthy as possible, and our staff as well.
Coach Gomez, I wanted to ask you, were y'all open to all the levels, middle schools, sub-varsity, or just varsity?
Middle schools, no, just from freshman on up.
Okay, and also were y'all weight room and outdoor, or all inclusive?
We have been doing weight room and outdoor. We're only allowed 12 athletes in our weight room, plus a coach, 13 individuals due to our square footage. And we make sure that we keep the 10-foot distance inside the weight room. So all the formulas that we did before we got started gave us the amount of numbers we could use inside a weight room.
Right.
And so if we have a group of 15 and only 12 of those kids from that group could be in the weight room, then we had an outside station for the remaining individuals, remaining 3 individuals, to be out there and to do their work outside. And then we just rotated as we went through. So it's been a challenge, but I want to say each and every day, I think everybody learns something new and different that helped the whole process move more safely and efficiently. Again, with the water, kids from the very beginning, if they didn't have their water, they weren't allowed to attend our strength and conditioning. So they had to bring their own water, because I think that was a big thing of, as we've learned in the past, even when kids just have the flu or a cold, they tend to grab water and share water and do all those things that, you know, keep it tough. We've had parents, as we talked to them, also said, Coach, you know, our kids do so much 7-on-7 outside of here that we feel safer when our kids are here, because we know all the mandates and protocols that you guys are doing. But we also can't tell the kids enough when they're leaving, you know, to stay away from those things, because it only harms everybody else when they're out practicing 7-on-7 with their leagues that they're in, and they're going to travel on teams and playing other teams from other areas and regions. And it's been something that we've been harping on the kids to not do. But we also, it's tough to tell a parent how to parent their child as well.
Right, that is correct. Coach, thank you for sharing a lot of great information.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next up, we got Coach Dickie Thompson from Sharyland ISD. Coach, I want to ask you, Coach, in your program, or if your program is to shut down, what are the phases and procedures to reopen during the summer?
Yeah, well, we started off. We started yesterday, or on a Monday. We decided to wait till the 15th, just simply because to be a little safer and to make sure that we were ready to go, because we knew we had to get this right. And so, you know, I'm sure for y'all, it probably took 2.5, 3 weeks of planning. And I know it certainly did us, meeting after meeting. And we had to have a final meeting with all the central office and the school board to get the approval to move forward. We were absolutely ready to go. In fact, about noon on Monday, I was really pumped up because all the proper procedures that our coaches were following, our check-in, our exits, our entrances, our social distancing. They were just doing an awesome job, and we had high numbers like many of you out there did. Unfortunately, we had a group that was not on campus, not on either one of the campuses. They were a group that was at a park, and but they were required to follow the same social distancing and strength and conditioning guidelines as we were at strength and conditioning. So they had to check in, they read the COVID-19 poster, they read all the questions, they checked the temperature, everything was good. There was 3 groups out there. There was 37 kids with 3 coaches, 3 different groups. Well, unfortunately, one of the individuals that walked up read the COVID-19. They were asked the questions, they were given a temperature, and the athlete said yes to all of them. They were good to go. Well, we got a phone call from the parent about 2 hours after that, stating that she had just received a phone call from the doctor and that her son was COVID-19. So she said that she had told her son not to go, but the son went anyway because he wanted to be with his friends. So therefore, that began a bowling ball effect. The coach that had group 2 was also a coach that was going to work at summer strength and conditioning. So his wife is pregnant, so he went home and took a bath after he left the park, went back to school, and he had a group or a cohort group of kids at the school. So therefore, by rule, they were affected too, because the coach was in 2 different sites under 2 different cohorts. So, and then of course this week, and one of the reasons we wanted to wait till the 15th was because of Memorial Day. We knew that people were getting lax, and we were going to give it another week just to see where we are. Of course, on Monday we started seeing the spike, or maybe a little earlier than that. Anyway, we ended up shutting down, obviously, and that's just because one kid just wasn't truthful. And I know it's inevitable that it's going to happen. I figured it was going to happen sometime in the next 6 weeks, that something was going to happen. I did not expect it to be the first day, especially when, you plan. You got it all right. You did things right, yet it got you. So, yes, we did shut down for the time period. We're probably going to look at it here in a couple of weeks, but we have July the 4th coming up. And so that's another thing that we're concerned about. But concerning the procedures and plans to move forward, yeah, we're going to go back to virtual learning for the virtual workouts for the next couple of weeks. We are going to try to be more innovative in our virtual workouts, in that trying to find things at home that they can use. Obviously we have body squats, push-ups, and all those types of things. And there's all kinds of workouts out there. We did get approval from the superintendent to break our weight rooms down, and what we're doing, we're making packages of weights for the kids that do not have weights at home. Now, some of the kids are members of a fitness club, and so they can go work out. Some of the kids may have a better weight room at home than we have at school. But there's many kids out there that don't have anything. And so what we're doing, we're breaking down weights of like 45s and 35s, giving them a bar. They're signing the waiver, and we're going to be handing out weights to kids that don't have any access to working out. Curl bars, dumbbells, everything that we got in the weight room. And so we're going to be breaking that down in the next couple of days, and we're going to find out. And again, we're going to start catering more to the varsity, no doubt about it. But we are going to break our weight rooms down. And I mean, we're not going to be sending out racks, but we are going to be sending out bars and weights and dumbbells and curl bars and everything that we got according to the athlete, how much they can lift and whatever. But we're going to provide our athletes a way to work out at home. And so we're in the process of doing that. My superintendent gave us the permission to go out and purchase dumbbells or whatever, and they would, of course, have to bring all that back. And of course, they're signing out for all this weight equipment. They're signing a waiver, but we'll know exactly what they have and what we need to bring back. But there's just a lot of kids in our school district that don't have anything, and I know that all of y'all have those type of kids. And so we're going to try to provide them weights that they can work out with, and anything else that we possibly can do. But the problem is you can't go out and buy packages of weights because you can't find it in a lot of areas. So anyway, we're going to break down our weight rooms, and we're going to try to give access to our kids that don't have access to weights or a place to work out. But we're going to try to be a little more innovative on our virtual workouts as well. I know it's not the same, but we're going to try to give them the best check we can. We're going to look at another couple of weeks here and see where we go from there. Other than that, that's basically all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Thompson. And again, I think like most of us, will continue doing virtual workout as well. And for the meantime, that's all we can do at this time until things slow down a little bit. Now, we will move on to the next question. That goes to Coach Roy Gotts from Edinburgh CISD. Coach, the $1 million question. Everybody wants to know, of course, we're going to have sports in the fall. And of course, we don't know yet, but what is your district, what are you guys doing in preparation for that? And, as far as like your ticket sales, your transportation issues, and of course, you're having kids and going to school in person. Are you all going to go virtual, A/B schedules? What is the plan in Edinburgh?
We met yesterday as a staff and all the principals, middle school and high school. They're developing some plans. Of course, the A/B schedule came out. The option, if they want to go virtual, we're looking at 20-30% of our students that don't want to show up. So we've got one of the schedules has up to 6 during lunch hours, so they can rotate or manage the kids. All our 4 high schools are 6A, so they're 2,700. So it's hard to get that. Right now, our busing is basically the driving force. I think the maximum we can put in those buses are 25. So we're looking at hours between every delivery. So it's elementary 7 something, middle school 8 something, high school starting at 9, and that's kind of 9 to 4:30, 9 to 5. They're kind of set on that already. They're kind of giving us the options for athletics and fine arts, either first period so we can utilize the morning and or the last period of the day if we do have athletics and fine arts. They're also looking at just the core classes. So I know our community doesn't want the kids. We're looking at MWS 1 week, the following week you go TTs. So those kids stay at home on those alternating days, and the concern with the community, what are they going to do with those kids? These options are for the high school. You can group the elementaries and keep them in the class all day, and or middle school, 6th grade, 7th grade. The high schools with a variation of college ready classes, AP classes, all that. You have freshmen and seniors in the same class. It's very difficult to schedule those kinds of things. So that's why they're looking more on the A/B schedule. Yesterday, 2 proposals were put together. They're going to visit with the board. But again, all of it is predicated. I think Thursday is the meeting with the governor to see the numbers, and that's going to kind of be the driving force as to do we have to do the AB schedule. There's some talk about just core being as far as electives. So if we're not having sports or we're not having that, putting our coaches to team teach and do virtual classes and things of that nature. So that was also discussed a lot, which brought a lot of concern on our part. If we try to do the social distancing and busing and classes, well, how can we have athletics with 100, 200 kids in an athletic period, meaning all levels, freshman, JV, varsity, all in the same period? So locker rooms, dressing rooms, and all that. So those concerns came up. So right now, you know, I think we will know more on Thursday. There's another meeting Thursday. We are developing option plans. Of course, we wish that everything is normal, but the way the spikes have recently been, that's not a very popular discussion that we're going to go back to normal. That it's just something we got to deal in the unknown. Yeah, there's plenty of options. And again, more so just the high school, these options, and maybe the middle school just having middle and elementary having full day, full schedule, keep them in the classroom, feed them in the classroom. We're looking at temp. They're looking at buying. They just bought one as a sample to take the readers every hallway, 15,000 for each one. Some of the schools require at least 4 entrances. So they purchased one that we're trying to test out at the central office to see how that works. You still have to man it. You still have to have somebody on video to try to trace anybody down that temperature reads pretty high. So they just got it day before yesterday, and they had a problem setting it up at central office. So I don't think that's a viable option, plus the cost. Right now, the other option is just give every teacher a temperature reader. First period, as they walk in, take the temperature, go with the questions. If they have a case that reads that, then silently kind of pull them to the side and send them to the nurse and let them forward that. And that's basically what our plans are right now for the startup. We're looking at targeting the first day of school, the 10th. So we've kind of moved it up with some intersessional days in our schedule throughout the year for tutoring and other advancement things, certain days of the week. So that's basically it. And basically what we were planning, we're originally planning our strength and conditioning the 15th. We're pushed back to the 22nd. And then Tuesday's budget meeting, we're pushed back to further notice, targeting the 13th of July. We had got temperature readers, spray bottles, trainers. Right now, really, our focus is right now, we brought in our trainers and hired them. We didn't get to do physicals at the end of the year. All we got is one middle school done. So we're giving out vouchers and following all that. So I have our trainers meeting with our coordinators and through rank 1 and solidifying that and setting up vouchers so they can go to our DHR student health clinic and get those physicals done, because we're way behind, of course, with all the 7th graders and or the incoming freshmen with the high school. So basically everything's thrown in there. We're just hoping for the best and hoping that we do have athletics. We do have sports in the fall, and wishing for the best.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for sharing that. A lot of great information. Here in Rio, we're pretty much in the same boat. I think our superintendent is also sending out a survey and stuff. And I think most of the parents that return their survey, I think, are opting to keep their kids at home. With that being said, I think they're going to give us an option about either sending kids to school in person or staying home and go virtual. The ones who choose to be at home and go virtual, then they'll be provided with a computer, laptop, and of course a hotspot if they need one. Obviously, some areas in the rural areas don't have internet access, so we're also making preparation and plans for that as well. But the main concern, of course, is football and all the other sports moving forward in the fall. We can't have sports without contact. So what happens if we do move forward and have sports and then somebody tests positive for COVID-19 and you just played the team next door, and so what happens then? Do both teams get quarantined 14 days? Or, I mean, there's a lot of questions that we don't have answers to yet. So, we'll wait for guidance from UIL and TAA and see how we're going to handle the situation moving forward. But I think that's in everybody's mind moving forward. What if? And again, we don't have answers to many of those questions. But again, working together, and again, preparation is key, and staying safe. And at the end, that's all we can do at the meantime.
Wait, one more thing is that I asked if the 20% chooses to do virtual, are they still going to be eligible if we do have athletics? And we don't have an athletic period. They just before school, after school. We're a mass transit district. I mean, we run buses probably second in the state or in the nation. So our question was, if they're virtual students, they're ECISD students, and if we do have athletics, are they going to be able to participate? So I don't know how they can justify, I can't go to class because I'm afraid, but I'm going to go and work out with 100 kids. So that was a question. I said, well, if they're ECISD students, they would be eligible. So that's another hurdle that we might have to manage if that happens. And they're looking at 20, 30%. They're doing the surveys, they're doing the phone calls and trying to get a little bit more exact numbers, but they're estimating 20 to 25% of our population will choose parent choice.
Okay. Ms. Paula, any thoughts or concerns? What McAllen ISD is doing at this point? I know y'all also shut down your summer strength and conditioning. So what's happening in McAllen ISD?
Well, I think I want to start off by commending UIO because for them allowing us to start the strength and conditioning, and I want to really commend the coaches, the coordinators, the coaches, and the trainers. I know in my school district, and as I can see throughout the valley, have done a phenomenal job of taking that approval from UIL and setting up the guidelines and restrictions and really setting up a high quality strength and conditioning program, because I know that the coaches were super excited about getting started, and the numbers really at McAllen ISD showed that the kids were ready to get started. And with that, I think that the parents trusted us with their sons and daughters because they felt that we were enforcing those strict guidelines and stuff. So we were all excited. And then once again, I know that my coordinators and my head coaches were disappointed that we kind of came to a halt, but I think it's better to be safe than sorry. So we're hoping we didn't have anyone test positive. We started off in the weight room. We started off 9th through 12th grade in the weight room. We started off with skilled instruction for all our programs, and we were hoping to transition our middle school come June the 22nd. So we did go full speed. We didn't have a positive. I think also not only in implementing the program did we do well, but our coaches and our athletes did a phenomenal job of keeping us informed when they were around someone that was positive, and we allowed them the opportunity to take a break from the program. So I think the communication is something that was also real positive in regards to our coaches and our athletes. So we're hoping to get started again. I know that we were never want to take a break when you get started, but I think to be safe, we are hoping to get started again, definitely. So that's pretty much what we did. But once again, I think everybody did a phenomenal job.
Yes, I agree. I think everybody, all school districts, and hearing everybody speak, I think has done an excellent job in preparing, of course, practicing safety first. That's one comment I made to the superintendent as well, that, we don't know what kids are doing out there. And just like Dickie said, once they leave our facilities, they get together and do whatever, things that who knows what they do. But once they come to our facilities, we're going to ensure that they follow the protocols and procedures that UIL and CDC and all the other doctors and whatnot have set out for us to follow. And we'll do the best that we can. But again, nothing's 100% sure as well. So, but we'll try to continue to practice safety and do everything the right way so that, our students are safe at all times. But again, guys, that's pretty much all I have for today. Bob, Rusty, any closing comments?
Yes, Ray, thank you. I have a couple of comments from the association and then a couple of comments on today. I'll begin with today, but I want to thank our state sponsors, the Field Turf and Nevco, for being with us today. I really want to thank Ray and Paula for facilitating this meeting, and our panelists. Y'all did an incredible job. And I want you to know how much I appreciate listening to you guys, because you're so transparent. You share your ideas. If anybody needs a resource, they got places they can go to get answers. That's happening all around the state, but y'all are a perfect example of what cooperation and working together is. So thank you for doing that. Really appreciate that. State conference update. We moved it from from April to July to now December 8th through the 11th. If you are in one of our 3 major hotels, the Hilton, the Courtyard, or the Indigo, we have already moved your reservation from the dates in July to the December dates. You don't have to do anything. If you're in a hotel different than that, we're still working on that mousetrap. So stay tuned for updates on that. Our Hall of Honor will be on Wednesday, and golf will be on Thursday, but we'll kick it off on Tuesday, just like it was the old Sunday, I guess is what it was. Legislative Council was yesterday and today. The two big things that occurred, number one were the adjustment of the sub-varsity basketball, which you guys probably benefited greatly from that, making it a $5 flat rate increase and not $20 for those 8-minute quarters. And then hearing today how we're going to juggle the live Friday night broadcast. I know there are two companies that are facilitating that, the NFHS and also Musco are two that I know about if you're interested in getting a setup that would do a live virtual broadcast for you. Let's see, tomorrow we have the Summer Roundtable sponsored by Chloe Wade and AD Insider. We'll have several ADs from around the state that are on that panel. Also have Susan Elza to give us an update on council decisions and also maybe prognosticating into the future about what we might expect. Although, as you know, it's just a guess. It's kind of a guess right now. Up in September, we have scheduled our fall forum that'll be in San Marcos on September 22nd and 23rd. A lot of our programming will deal with what we have been through, how we have grown, and what we're doing to survive in the fall. Because right now, from hearing you guys talk, we don't know if we're going to have virtual school, in-person school, a combination of both. We don't know how we're going to get to a game. So a September 23rd and 22nd meeting could be very valuable to our association also. And then last thing I have for you guys is if you go to our website, there's a lot of things like this video is going to be on our website. There's several short videos from ADs around the state that give strategies like you guys are doing today that kind of help you cope and get through this. So once again, thanks to Paula and Ray for getting this pulled off today. Thanks to our panelists. And I really enjoyed listening in today because you guys are doing an awesome job. So just hang in there, and Ray and Paula, y'all can go ahead and close it out. In fact, I'd like Ray and Paula to stay on when they close the meeting. We can kind of debrief for a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Bob. And again, I just want to thank all the state sponsors and all the panelists for sharing their ideas. I think today we shared a lot of great information. But again, we continue to work together and move forward. And again, everybody stay safe out there. Paula?